Okay, great challenge this week, going on the road. 4-win football team just like us at Seattle, a place that I've been before. We've coached in games there before. It's a great atmosphere in our league. It's a challenge dealing with that crowd noise, and it's a good football team. It's a Pete Carroll football team, so you know they're well coached, play with great energy. Offensively, I think they're doing a really nice job. Gino does a really good job in Coach Waldron's offense. He's taking care of the ball. They run it really well. I think Walker's a really talented running back. We've seen some good ones so far, and he's right up there. He makes you miss at a incredible rate. Good tight end, very good wide receivers, a ton of keepers and boots, play action, so you have to be on point. Defensively, again, Coach Carroll, Coach Hurt, it's a lot of what they've done for a long time, which is play sound defense, play physical up front. Bringing Bobby Wagner back, I think, makes a huge difference, as you can imagine. Great player, physical on the back end. So really good defense. Got to be about our business. And then special teams. Well coached, good return game, good coverage game. So we really have to have a good week of practice to get ready for what I think is a really good football team. So we're excited about that challenge. With Deshaun, PJ's going to start this week. Deshaun's going to focus on his rehab. I just feel like with what happened in the game, landing on his shoulder, there's residual swelling that's affecting his throwing. I think it's the best thing for him to rest this week and focus on the rehab. And, as I've told you guys, I will always make what I think are the best decisions for our football team, for Deshaun, and I feel like this is the best decision for this week. But with that, I'll take any questions.
Kevin, it's now been described as a 4 to 6 week injury. Shouldn't you guys have put him on the IR at the start?
Yeah, I would just tell you, Tony, as you know, we make decisions based on the information that you have every day. You guys have heard me say day to day, and I just think that's based on, the player, how he's feeling, the information with the injury, all those things. But you're just trying to make the best decision you can.
Last Sunday, a setback then? Did he have more damage,
Yeah.
or was there?
No, there's no structural damage, Tom, based on the MRI. There is, like I mentioned, residual swelling, but that's why it's just important for him to focus on rehab this week.
Has the clock been reset on this thing, or are we still in that 4 to 6 time frame with this being week 5?
Yeah, I'm really just focused on this week. He's trying like crazy. This is not for lack of effort. He's making every effort he can to be out there. But with the hit he took, I just felt like, and with the swelling, makes the most sense to focus on rehab this week. And then he'll be out there as soon as he's ready.
Was there any misdiagnosis from the very beginning? Because up until now, he's been day to day for quite a long time.
Yeah, I would just tell you, every injury, you take in information every single day. So in that way, you're day to day. He's going to focus on rehab this week, but throughout his rehab, you're going to continually find out every single day how he's feeling, how he's progressing through it.
Prior to the hit, did he look like himself to you mechanically? It didn't, what do we know, but it didn't look like the same Deshaun even before that hit.
Yeah, he was progressing in the right direction, was able to practice last week, but just I felt like with that hit, I just didn't like that right on the shoulder, and then coming out of it with swelling, I just did not feel like that would, put him in his best spot to practice this week. So
That hit, he would have finished the game and he'd still be.
yeah.
The conversation just to rest this week?
Yeah, I talk to Deshaun every day. Like I mentioned to you guys, he wants to play very badly. He also knows that rehab is the decision this week, and but he's going to do everything he can to support his teammates. He's a captain of the team. He provides great leadership, so he wants very badly to play. But just this week, it makes sense to focus on the rehab.
How important is it to have PJ know that he's the starter from Wednesday when you get out there for the first moment of practice and making sure that he's getting his timing and everything down?
Yeah, kind of. Look, we've talked about this before, Mary Kay. Sometimes as a backup you get that amount of lead time. Sometimes you don't, and that's just life in the big city when it comes to backup quarterbacks. So, he'll prepare like he always does. Dorian will prepare like he always does. But PJ will start this week.
When you say there's residual swelling, that's affecting the mobility and his ability to make normal throws. Is that the biggest issue with what's going on?
I don't have my doctor's hat on, but yes, I mean that's affecting how he's throwing the ball with that swelling.
Deshaun won't practice this week, but could practice next week.
Yeah, I'm focused on this week. So today he won't practice.
This week he will not practice.
He will continue his rehab throwing this week.
When Andrew talked to us at the bye week, he said, it seemed like everyone was optimistic, that no one thought that this was going to be a long-term thing. I guess, when has that changed, and when has it become, I guess, a longer-term thing than everyone initially anticipated?
Yeah, I just think these are injuries. This is our quarterback. It's a shoulder injury, so you're taking in information every single day. Again, I can't tell you how much time Deshaun has spent trying to get back, but we'll continue to just make the smart decisions for our football team for him. But it's just that's injuries. You just have to go with the information that you have.
Has surgery ever even been discussed? Is that any kind of an option or anything? There's
No.
nothing in there that needs to be repaired?
Correct.
Work with PJ Walker and even Dorian when he's going through this rehab process, and how much of an impact does that have on the game prep?
Yeah, that quarterback room, Cam, I'm so impressed with those guys. I've been in a lot of those rooms. This one, they really support each other. They push each other. Game day, they're there for each other. And I think that's the point of playing football, playing offensive football, defense, you name it. But you need each other. You need your coaches in that room. You need that support. And I think Deshaun provides a great amount of that to those guys.
Last year when Jacoby was here, you had to play a different style of offense with him than with Deshaun. And now, this year, do you feel with PJ you're still able to play the same style of offense, or do you feel like you have to kind of do a little bit what you did with Jacoby last year and peel some things back?
I think every quarterback's different. I think if you're worth your salt as a coach, you do what your quarterback does best. So we always talk about that based on who's in there and that type of thing. But that's really what you have to do. Now, to say that you have a huge departure either way, that's why you hope to have enough offense that you can pivot in game, so to speak.
Comfortable are you with PJ and DTR as your backups, or do you feel like now with some of this uncertainty, perhaps a veteran quarterback might be good as a backup?
No, I'm comfortable with the guys we have.
Why was the running back released on Monday after you guys signed him, knowing that Jerome Ford was going to be injured?
Yeah, those are all things that you do, Tony, with your roster. You have to manage it based on injuries, people that are coming back. So
You do anticipate having 3 running backs out?
I do.
Those 2 auditioning now in the practice squad, or do you know who it'll be?
Yeah, I do know, but you'll see later in the week.
Complimentary of what you saw from Seattle on tape. When they're at their best, what does that look like to you, and what's concerning?
Yeah, they're really good. The tape is impressive. I think from when you're playing them, and particularly when you're playing them at Seattle, their defense feeds off their crowd. I think Carolina had 8 false start penalties in that game. So you have to have a great road operation. But as an NFL team, you love going on the road. You love the challenge that presents. But Seattle's really sound with what they do. Coach Waldron does a really nice job marrying the run game and the pass game on offense. Like I mentioned, they have guys on the perimeter that can really hurt you. They have tight ends that can get down the seams. And I think, Walker's as good as there is in our game. He's really playing at that high a level. And then defensively, sound. They play a bunch of different coverages. They play them well. They have incredible length in the back end, incredible length really at linebacker with Bobby Wagner. They tackle well. They get after the passer. They get off the defensive line. They penetrate. So it's a huge challenge, and it's one that week to week they change, and maybe they play a coverage that's a little bit different than what we saw last week. So you have to make a couple alterations to certain concepts that you do, but that's the fun part in our business.
You just talked about some of the pre-snap penalties there and how that can happen in that environment. I know you don't want to coach the aggressiveness out of somebody like Miles, for example, but what's a threshold for you where you're maybe comfortable with, hey, we had an extra offsides or two because we're trying to be aggressive? Like, where's that threshold for you with what's acceptable?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you want to get off the ball, and that's, what we do. You don't want to give them free plays. You don't. Go ahead, America.
Be your backup this game, and will
Yes.
Deshaun just sit?
Yes.
Why is it so hard to win in Seattle? I mean, even before you were a coach in the Kingdom, it was hard for anybody.
I can't speak to the Kingdom. What's the name of this one now? What's it called? Lumen. I remember Safeco. Was it Safeco? What's the Quest? Quest. Thank you, Scott. It's a really interesting thing because it's an open air stadium, but somehow they keep the noise in there. So we'll have it blaring out there for us this week. We've played in loud places before, and this is at the top of the list. I think about New Orleans, think about Minnesota over the years, places that it can be deafening. So you have to have a plan, and you just focus on your operation really throughout the week. We'll work hard to make sure that everybody knows the plan and can go operate.
Walker not starting as hot as you would like, did that kind of go into making this decision or announcement early?
No, just doing what's best for the team.
Sean go to Seattle, or will he stay here and rehab?
He would go with us, yes.
Expect to be out without Jerome Ford.
We'll see. Yeah, I think I'll see how he progresses through this week, but we'll see.
I know we've
Reed's
talked,
not practicing today, but are you optimistic that we're ready to go Sunday?
I am.
PJ,
so go ahead, Scott.
with PJ, what have you liked, in the 2 games he's been out there? What have you liked about him, and then what do you think he needs to do a better job?
Yeah, I think, operating, getting us in and out of plays, and has made some big plays when we need them in every single one in his games. We've had to make a play, and he's made them.
A lot about Miles and Dustin the last few days, but for them both to be Player of the Week honors in the AFC, and it's the first time since '94 that the Browns have had 2 in 1 week. Just talk about that.
Well, very well deserving. So whoever votes on that, they got this one right. Dustin's been awesome. I enjoy having him around. Good person, fits really well with our team. He was a game captain last week. The guys made him a game captain, and then he came through and played like that, kicked like that. And then Miles, I mean, yeah, I'm running out of, you guys are the wordsmiths. He's doing things that not many humans can do.
How much is Dustin showing that he can consistently make those 50 plus, especially beyond, 54 beyond? How much has that adjusted, altered your play calling, your approach to drives?
Well, a couple of those, I wish he wasn't attempting 50-yarders. I wish we moved the ball a little bit better, particularly after Miles gets the block. That comes to mind. So obviously it factors in. He's been very trustworthy. He's come through for us. Not to say that he's going to be perfect. I understand how hard that is, but it does factor into our decision-making, yes.
The owner tweeted that the NFL acknowledged he missed a couple calls at the end of that game. Did you get that same memo?
Yeah, I'm not sure what memo, but, I mean, you turn in plays each week to the NFL. I think you can turn in up to 10, and they get back to you with what they felt, was the correct call, but not going to share that.
You got a big breakdown of PJ fumble.
I'm not.
Without getting
Yeah.
in trouble, but have you ever gotten oops, we...
Oh, yeah, all
we
the
did-
time. And listen, and you know that. I mean, they're human. We've been on both sides of it. That's never going to change. I mean, you just play the game.
What were your thoughts on Game 7?
We done? Okay, thanks.